Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will improve your listening experience. Let's take a moment for setting up your system. First, we will confirm that the YouTube setting is on highest quality available. Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will improve your listening experience. Let's take a moment for setting up your system. First, we will confirm that the YouTube setting is on highest quality available. Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will improve your listening experience. Let's take a moment for setting up your system. First, we will confirm that the YouTube setting is on highest quality available. Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will improve your listening experience. Let's take a moment for setting up your system. First, we will confirm that the YouTube setting is on highest quality available. Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will improve your listening experience. Let's take a moment for setting up your system. First, we will confirm that the YouTube setting is on highest quality available. Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will improve your listening experience. Let's take a moment for setting up your system. First, we will confirm that the YouTube setting is on highest quality available. Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will improve your listening experience. Let's take a moment for setting up your system. First, we will confirm that the YouTube setting is on highest quality available. Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will improve your listening experience. Let's take a moment for setting up your system. First, we will confirm that the YouTube setting is on highest quality available. Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will improve your listening experience. Let's take a moment for setting up your system. First, we will confirm that the YouTube setting is on highest quality available. Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will improve your listening experience. Let's take a moment for setting up your system. First, we will confirm that the YouTube setting is on highest quality available. Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will improve your listening experience. Let's take a moment for setting up your system. First, we will confirm that the YouTube setting is on highest quality available. Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will improve your listening experience. Let's take a moment for setting up your system. First, we will confirm that the YouTube setting is on highest quality available. Now you should be hearing my voice on the left side. Now you should be hearing my voice on the right side. You are all set. Enjoy the presentation. Welcome to the DEXIBELL Live video broadcast. Good speakers or headphones will. The presentation will start in 5, 4, 3.
Hello, everybody. Hi out there in the world. Good morning to America. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, good evening to Europe, and well, kind of good night to Asia. Very, very happy to be here with you again this week, this beautiful Sunday afternoon. So today's subject is audio player and audio connection on USB. We already kind of covered MIDI connection with the editor app, and also keyboard master keyboard zones part 1, and xMure and other iOS applications. So I did a lot of research for you this week, and I have quite a lot of very, very nice things to cover. But before going there, I would like to thank all of you who have participated. My Facebook group, Ralf Plays Dexibel, over the last 2 weeks. So our community has grown in these couple of days to 108 participants. That is very nice. I'm very flattered. I'm very happy about that. Keep on advertising, keep on coming in, and don't be shy, don't be afraid to ask also questions. And when you ask questions, maybe some other people in the community know the answer, or we can refer to one of the webinars that I've already done, or I'm going to jump in and giving the answer to the question. So let's stay on that and let's really make it groove all together. And yeah, I'm very happy. Anyhow, so the first song I played was kind of a vintage tune by Billy Cobham, Stratus. And I have been using, let me just show to you, let me just break it down to you a little, what I've been doing here. So I have been using the song player. It's an internal USB song player. In the song player, you can play AIFF, WAV, MP3 files. So it's a very flexible thing, and it's reading directly from the USB stick. So what you do is you go to the song list, you select the song you want to play, you push the button here, and the backing track is actually directly going to start. So that's as easy as that. You can copy any kind of audio file directly over to your USB stick, and it can be ordered in several folders, etc., etc. But the data management subject we'll be covering in another webinar. The webinar, if I recall correctly, is going to be the webinar number 9, where we're going to talk about data structure, etc., etc. So from the sound point of view of Stratus, I've been using the Tone Wheel 2 organ. I've been using clav sound, which is layered with the tone wheel organ, and then I have stepped through several of those registrations, also using the foot switch that I programmed in the control area. I'm just going to jump in very quickly, pedal 1 assign to a function that is called memory next. It can also be memory previous, and like this you can fly through your user settings that you created without having to leave the keyboard for doing that. So very, very handy feature all in all. All right, so the first app that I'd like to cover again today is the Editor app. And the Editor app is available on iPhone or iPad. Let me say, unfortunately, it's just restricted to iOS, which is not our fault. It's in the Android system, there is a gap that we cannot close. So we cannot have MIDI data communication in the Android system. We would be happy to do it, but it's at this moment, unfortunately, it's not possible. So let me play a short video that I've prepared about the iPhone Vivo Editor. So I connected my phone to the J7 and I made a short video. Let's look at that. This is the Vivo Editor, compatible with all our instruments. And in the Vivo Editor, you can conveniently select the sounds. You can see that here. You can even adjust drawbar settings in the organ window. And let me show this to you. When you do so, the physical drawbars are moving as well. And if I do that here, you can see it on the screen of the iPhone, because this time I'm using the iPhone as a running device for the Vivo Editor. Then there's the mixing board with the convenient screen for also copy paste for effect settings. Copy paste, where you can swap effects or cross copy or copy effect settings from slot A, not slot A, slot upper A to lower B, etc., etc., without having to note all the individual parameters that you will find here in the editor. Then there's the control section where you can decide what your pedals are doing in the J7. Then there's the setting up of the zones, also very convenient if you want to do MIDI master keyboard functions in your stage instruments, here, easy to adjust split zones on the fly using the app. You can see that here. And of course then to decide what kind of parameters are sent and handled for each zone. And again, there is a nice and handy copy and paste feature, so you don't have to duplicate all the parameters by yourself. And in the end, there's the possibility to save and write your user memories using also the app. All right, and that's the Vivo Editor. In the meanwhile, I have connected my iPad here, and I've launched the same, of course, Vivo Editor running on the iPad. And here we have the drawbar settings. But what I want to do now is I would like to go to the pedal area here because, as promised, I would like to show to you a couple of those new sexy bass sounds that we have just released. And to get them, let me get my picture out of the way here. To get them, you go to our webpage. You go here to bass, and it's called the EXP Bass Collection. There is a couple of bass sounds and very, very nice ones in this sound setup. Here it is. If you want to know how to, download sounds into your instrument, that is something we have already covered in one of the webinars. I think it was the second one, if I'm recalling correctly. So there is a an explanation how to do that and how to load them into your instrument. So let's jump in here and play something with these bass sounds. And the first one I have installed here is the rock soft slap. So we can have a soft. And you can hear all these noises, all the squeaking, etc. from the strings. And of course, we can go into the T2L editor. We go to pedal settings and we say, okay, what do we have here? This is the off noise that I can adjust. It's a little bit over the top now. That's gone away now. Amp noise, this is like a there's something that usually you try to get rid of, but it's very nice because it gives that kind of analog vintage feeling to the whole thing. Then we have key noise. It's like that kind of thumping that is very, very nice. And then the string noises, you already heard those. Let's crank them up. And here we go. So, and then I created a patch where I have the Wurlitzer piano. Layered with an organ. The organ sound, I will bring it in with my expression pedal. And then there's the bass. Let's crank up the Leslie. That's a nice bass sound, isn't it? So what else did we do here? There's the electric. There's the dark bass, much more mellow. There's the soft slap. There's the hard slap. We're getting there. There's a pop big bass. There's a fat bass. Yeah. and the contemporary bass. You see, they all go in the same direction, but they still significantly different. So you can choose the sound that is the most suitable for the song you would like to play. All right, so let's see what else do we have. I created as a next one. Let me give you this view here. I created a patch where I'm combining the rock piano. You remember that's a digital vintage piano and a split point round very low here, and I made it for this song. And as today is actually, today's subject is backing tracks, song player, etc. I've looked for a backing track for this song. I just cut a short piece of it, and here we go. So it's as easy as that, just using a backing track. Then, next bass sound, split pattern. This time the slap bass. I'm sure you remember this song. I created a patch again using the piano and the synth brass kind of sound that again I will bring in with my expression pedal. It's just like that. So now I would like to actually record what I'm doing here, and that's what I'm doing right now. So I'm pushing the record button. Unfortunately, let me give you this other picture. Unfortunately, you cannot see the record button of the instrument here on the camera screen because it's out of the camera angle. Again, apologies. I have 4 camera angles now. I probably should have 8 or something. I'm getting there step by step. Anyhow, on that side is the record button. So let me do that now. Okay, that should do. Just push stop. And now I'd like actually to listen to the recording and maybe even play something on top of it. That's the recording running now, and now I'm playing on top of it. And you know the cool thing is that I can actually overdub, and this is what I've tried to do now. So I'm running the recording again. And I'm not playing now. This is from the recording. And I can now even jam on top of that. It's getting noisy now. So this is what our recorder is able to do. So you cannot just record, but you can overdub and overdub and overdub again and again. Very, very powerful tool inside all our DEXIBELL instruments. So again, today I'm using the J7, but these features are present in our entire lineup. And I'm just seeing there is a question coming in from Ruben. And Ruben asks, where do you get the backing tracks from? Thank you very much, Ruben, for this question. I have just prepared something for you to look at. And I'm going to go to the web browser now. And this is a page that I sometimes like to use. It is called Karaoke Version. And you find it on karaokeversion.com. And a big advantage of Karaoke Version or platforms like that, because I'm very, very sure around the globe there are a lot of platforms that that are doing backing tracks on an MP3 base, so on an audio base, not on a MIDI file base. And the cool thing is actually that there is the possibility to make your own mixes. So if you are into having a backing track that is suitable for pianos, you just press here, and then automatically the piano sound and the piano track is muted. Or if you are a guitarist, you push here, and then it's already muted here. Same goes for bass. Let's go back to piano, etc., etc. And let's just briefly play this one. That's Christopher Cross Sailing. Let's jump back a little bit. Okay. You see, that's basically how this works. And once you've done your remix, etc., you can just can purchase the track. And another cool thing about this one is that you can always go back into the page again, to the browser, and to make another remix. So you're very, very flexible. Once you have made the purchase, Karaoke Version allows you to go back and make another remix or another mix down for having this kind of, for you, perfect playback. And there's a big database. Sometimes I really like to use these things. And there is another question from Ruben coming in, if there is a way to record with a metronome. In some of, sorry, I touched the key. In some of our instruments, we do have a metronome. If not, there is actually also apps that are doing metronome. I didn't prepare this one, but there are apps that are able to give you a metronome sound in an easy way, where you can play along with. Okay. That was the question, and we're going to proceed further on. Now we're going to take care of the audio connection to your iOS device. And for this, we strongly recommend, let me see, to use original, and I'm not paid from this company, but we strongly, we strongly recommend to use the original Apple connectors, because they're stable. They're doing the job. You don't have any dropouts there, because some of the other nameless or whatever ones we've gotten calls from or emails from our customers that something is not right, and it's actually the origin of this malfunction or problem is the connector. So we really recommend you to use whether this one or that one, and that's most of the times the one I'm using, because it allows you to connect to your instrument, and it allows you to connect to the power adapter to load your iOS, to charge your iOS device during the process where you are connected to your instrument, so you are not in the middle of something creative or powerful, and then you suddenly lose the power in the iPad or the iPhone. Is certainly something I don't want to have during one of my webinar sessions. All right, so let's have a look. Once we connected the, in this case, the J7 to the iPad, and I promised to you in the beginning, I've made my research this week, and I've made a couple of short videos before really broadcasting, so I can share them with you. And this video I'm going to play now is about an app that is called Cubasis. This is an app running on my iPad, and it can record MIDI and audio. And MIDI and audio is transmitted on one single USB cable with using the camera adapter kit. So let me play this short video where I'm using Cubasis and the J7 and my iPad. Let's do that. So this is Cubasis. I connected the J7 here, and you can see as an audio device, you'll find DEXIBELL Capture. About setting up the whole thing, the most important thing is to set up the correct routing. So I have the, you can see here the J7 upper part is MIDI channel 1, the lower part, is MIDI channel 3. And then I skipped actually the couple and pedal for this moment, but you can of course create channels also and tracks for the bass and the couple part. Then I set up the control channel. This is for controlling the movements of the draw faders, and I set also up the PG channel. This is for the program change in case you change your sounds or your let me say your memory parts here on the instrument while you make your performance. And the cool thing is really that, of course, everything is recorded as well as the draw fader movements. So your recording is, of course, captured as an audio track. I set up also here the audio track and stereo input, stereo output. You can see track 1 and 2, which is the DEXIBELL audio driver, basically, from the J7. And other than that, you can capture your whole performance in individual MIDI tracks in case you make small mistakes, so you can correct notes. That's very, very handy. And you don't lose all the real-time things you did, like percussion on-off, vibrato on-off, rotary, slow, fast, and of course, most importantly, the draw fader movement. All right, so let's record something here. So I'm changing with the foot pedal. The program change, you can see on the faders, is moving back and forth. And now I can change the draw faders, and they will be part of the recording. All right, that should do. So let's play back. And I'm at this moment muting the audio track because otherwise I'm getting an audio track to listen to, and in the same moment the MIDI. That's something I don't want. And I'm disarming now all the tracks, and let's run it. Let's see if it works. So I'm not playing now, okay? And you can see it works. See all the draw faders, everything is recorded here. You can see the notes. Yeah. And of course, down here you have the audio track captured in the same time. All right, and that was a Cubasis on my iPad. In the meanwhile, I've launched the xMure, and let me just refer to two questions that came in. One is from Jay. Yes, I think so too, and there might be even more apps in iOS world that are able to do what I just did on Cubasis. Thank you, Jay, for the question. And then there is Ruben. And Ruben, no, you're not asking too much. That's actually why we are doing this, to get in touch with you and to listen to your questions and to try to help you as much as possible. Let me briefly speak. Let me briefly speak about Bluetooth connection. As you just received the answer from our DEXIBELL team. Thank you to our DEXIBELL team who's sitting in the background, taking care of your questions, typing the answers. We are introducing the Bluetooth MIDI connection in our next upcoming model, the Vivo H10, very, very soon. And this is a MIDI connection. What we cannot do is Bluetooth audio in real time. There is the possibility to stream Bluetooth audio into your instrument. That works perfectly. It already is existing today. But to do a real-time application such as xMure or something that really needs to be on the spot will be not possible on Bluetooth audio because of the Bluetooth specs. There is quite well, let me say tremendous latency between what you actually do and what you hear. Due to Bluetooth, so this would not be very handy to have. So for this reason, we have to use the cable for xMure, and that's what I want to do when I want to go back now. So I'd like to show to you how we can connect xMure to our DEXIBELL Vivo or combo instrument. Of course, the cable is clear. We already talked about that. But now what do we have to do on the MIDI side or specs side in order to do that? And let me just give you a fancy all camera angle screen in one. So we have the xMure, we have the display of the instrument, we have the keys, and my beautiful face is also visible. So there's, of course, different ways to run the xMure app. So let me go into the first possibility, and this is what you can do with all our instruments, but you can also and also with our H series, because the H series doesn't have MIDI master keyboard functions. Because we don't expect you to have any tools with a MIDI master keyboard and second keyboards and running DAWs, etc. from your home instrument. However, if there is enough request from the market, from you guys, please implement it into the Vivo. I should have a glass of German beer with our software team and push a little bit. Maybe we can reach it. But anyhow. Taking it from where we are at this moment, we go, I will do that in slow motion again. We go into the MIDI area on the screen. We go into MIDI set, and then we go on DEXIBELL. So this means there is a general setup for all DEXIBELL instruments. What does that mean? So we go into transmission, MIDI transmission. This is what everything I'm playing is sending into whatever device that I have connected. So transmission. And then you see the 4 real-time parts that we have on our instruments. This will be upper coupled, lower pedal. And it's called upper on our J7, on our organ instrument. This is words coming from the organ world, upper, lower manual pedal. It is called main, for example, on our pianos instead of upper. But you will figure that out by yourself. What am I doing here now? So you can go inside and I can see status is on. Then the MIDI channel, that's very important. The MIDI channel that I'm sending and the MIDI channel that is that I'm receiving here, another real-time angle on my xMure for this. In this case, it has to be identical. Otherwise, there's one is sending here, one is receiving here, so nothing's gonna happen, like in the real world. Then there's several parameters that you can switch on off: modulation, volume, pan pod, expression, reverb, etc., where you can actually decide, do I need these parameters to be sent, or do I not need this? Switch it on, switch it off, whatever you need to do. And then we can jump into coupled and lower, and we have exactly the same parameter. And by default, it is like that upper or main is set to channel 1, and for instance, lower is set to MIDI channel number 3. So how does that now correspond to our xMure? If I'm launching xMure, I can, I think the picture should be large enough for you to see it. I go into the settings of xMure, and maybe I'm changing to a better pick here now. No, that's not what I wanted. xMure, iPad and keys, does that? No, it doesn't work. Let's do it like that. So you can see here, there is a MIDI area, okay? And you see there's already the preparation of Bluetooth MIDI. And the MIDI channel at this moment is set to channel 3, which will correspond to my left part on the instrument. Let me just briefly reset the MIDI channel so there is no MIDI channel. Now the xMure is listening to whatever note I play first. And I just did one on the main part, and you see now the channel is set to channel 1, which actually will not really help me, because then the chord recognition would be on the right side where I want to play the melody. So I would get a lot of quite strange things, and that's why MIDI channel in this case should be set on channel 3. Let me go back to this image again. So you see lower transmit is on channel 3, xMure receiving is on channel 3, and I just now switched on the lower part of the instrument. So I'm playing chords on the left, and you see xMure is reading what I'm playing. Hang on. And then there is a chord latch function on the xMure. So it's like a sustain pedal for chords, so to speak. So if I release my hand, the last chord that is played will still remain. So, so what can we do with the xMure? Let me give you a first example. And in this example, I'm using another bass, and I have to briefly change some setting, otherwise I'm getting too many crazy chords here. I'm anticipating now. Or no, let me jump back. It's better to jump back one more time. I just showed you how to use the xMure app in any of our instruments. Right now, I want to show you how to use it with keyboard zones. So I go to a setting, it's called zones, and I go here into transmission, and here you can see all the transmission are switched off now of the real-time parts. This is really, really important, because in this example, I would like to use the keyboard zones of my instrument to drive the xMure. This will give me much more flexibility, because then I'm independent of any split point with sounds. I'm independent of what I'm actually having here in the real-time parts, if I have switched on the lower part or not, it doesn't really matter because I'm now using the keyboard zones. How does that work? I go into zone, and here, for example, in the zone C, I'm on channel 3, and now it's switched off. So when I play something, you see there's no chord recognition on xMure. If I'm switching it on, then the chord recognition is working instantly. I'm switching it off now again for this example because I just want to use the drum pattern, okay? And the patch I created here is a patch using another one of these really beautiful bass sounds, but this time I'm using the bass sound as a melody sound. New bass sound, fretless. Thank you, Jay, for the thank you, Jay, for the lovely comment. Okay, I can take that. That's okay. And slow swing, just the drum pattern from the xMure. All right. So, talking a little bit more about the xMure, I have to tell you that the xMure is not using MIDI signals to drive a general MIDI compatible sound source. In the xMure, you actually find audio patterns that are recorded. So there is a real guitarist and the real bass and real drums, and we made even an example using a real choir. So I'm just playing this one here now, and that's a little bit too loud, so I'm turning down the volume of the USB audio input. Or I can adjust the volume inside the xMure. So you can hear the choir is singing in a beautiful tonality chord of C major, and if I don't do anything and if I don't push stop, they will sing for the next 2 weeks until we meet again on the Sunday. But we want to make this a little bit more exciting. So now I start changing chords. So what's that? A choir that is really following exactly what I'm playing. And this is the incredible power of xMure, because it's not MIDI. Let me put that in angle again. It's not MIDI, it's audio. And that's actually quite amazing. So xMure also is available on all the iOS devices. So on the iPad as right now, or also on the iPhone. So let me show you a short video that I have recorded using xMure Touch. xMure has several modes, and Touch is one of those modes. Let me see. It looks like that on the iPad, and it looks like that on the iPhone. And this video I'm playing for you now has been pre-recorded. Now I'm using the xMure app on my phone. I don't even want to use a keyboard for triggering the chords. That's why I'm going into the touch mode of the app. On the left side, you can see the different keys. On the right side, you can see the different chord types. So let's select a blues and a seventh chord type. And I want to have a one measure pickup here. So I'm switching in the drum scene, one of these buttons. And then I want to start with pattern B, and off we go. Let's play that double time. Here we go. Yeah, that's pretty much how the touch mode works. Okay, so this is xMure Touch on the iPhone. Of course, xMure Touch is also existing on the iPad, so no worries about that. Before I'm diving deeper into that, I'd like you to meet one of the people from behind the scenes who is working on xMure, and I thought is just really nice to see one of the persons that is responsible for this beautiful little app. Following up on our Academia Dexibel tradition, also today I have someone here from behind the scenes. He was born in San Benedetto del Tronto in region of Marche in Italy. He studied electronic, organ, piano and clarinet, and later he took some courses at the famous Berklee College of Music to deepen his composing and arranging skills. Before joining DEXIBELL, he used to work for the European subsidiary of a famous Japanese brand as a musical advisor. And here he is. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Marco di Paolo. Ciao Marco.
Ciao Ralf.
Let me try some Italian. Come stai?
Bene, bene.
Okay. All right. It's good seeing you this morning. And
Also for me.
and how is your situation in Italy?
Well, the situation in Italy is going better, Ralf. And of course, everybody hopes to solve it as soon as possible.
Yeah, of course. So, so you are not completely supposed to stay inside the whole day now.
Yeah.
Okay. That must be an incredible relief.
Yeah.
Already. Wow. Wow. So it's good news. Okay.
Good news.
It's good news. Okay. So Marco, you are one of the DEXIBELL R&D guys, and I'm just learning more and more that in the DEXIBELL R&D team, most of the engineers do have some serious musical skills. So you basically all of you have studied some instrument, playing some piano, some organ, etc., etc. But also the other way around. The musical team has also some serious engineering skills, so that's an amazing combination, all in all. So, So apart from what you do is checking the specs and the software before we finally release it to our customers. So you make sure that everything works, right?
Yes, yes. My job mainly within the DEXIBELL company is to provide all those musical knowledge to be implemented in the best way in the design of the stage piano, home products, or any music application.
Wow, okay.
And in addition, I'm in close contact with many professional musicians and amateur musicians who, based on their needs, give me many suggestions, feedback for improving our instruments. And then, of course, after that, I test directly on the keyboard any new function.
Okay, wow, that's a responsible. It's a job with a high responsibility, right? So also, this goes to my audience. He is the guy in charge. If you want to have some new features, I think we have to keep your email address really quiet now. So it's Marco. It's all about Marco. That's so cool. It's dangerous, huh? What we're doing now.
It's really dangerous.
Okay. So part of today's webinar is about also the iOS app xMure. And of course, some of our audience know that basically the whole team has the whole R&D team in DEXIBELL has a huge history in developing instruments with an arranger engine and arranger core. So what was your vision to do this on a platform like iOS?
Yeah, in the beginning, the vision has been to have a really big, flexible and interactive tool running on a popular device that many people in the world already have, as
Yes.
iPad and phone. We made a tool that it gives a nice and musical accompaniment that any keyboardist or pianist player can use in real time. Of course, our goal is always to try to satisfy the customer. So
yes. So and as far as I understand, this as opposed to arranger engines as they used to be, this one is strictly audio based. So is no MIDI notes triggering some GM compatible sound source. It's really like guitar loops and stuff.
Yes, it's completely audio, drum loop, guitar loop, and completely audio, yes.
That's amazing. So this means that when I'm changing the chords, the audio loop is kind of rearranged in real time?
Yes.
To follow what I'm doing. Wow, that's an amazing piece of technology.
Yeah, we have a patent for that.
Yes. You better have a patent, absolutely. So now the app is running with audio, and however, it's just possible to connect to the DEXIBELL instrument with one USB cable. You don't need audio cables. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Now, with the Aquaviva software, it's possible to connect only with one cable, USB cable.
Okay.
And it's an easy connection that needs a USB cable and a camera kit connector.
All right, okay, yes.
And at the moment, we cannot use Bluetooth audio. We would like to, but latency problem cannot be solved yet for this kind of application. So we hope to do it for the next future.
Oh, okay. So meaning, just for me to understand, if we would transfer audio and MIDI by Bluetooth, I think due to the Bluetooth standard, there's a buffer which causes a latency.
Yes,
is that correct?
There is latency, is a buffer, and when you play, you can listen a delay.
A delay, okay. So we cannot, I understand. That's why we are kind of obliged to use a cable in a positive way. is very
yes.
stable, smooth connection.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the moment, yes.
I
Would be
understand that.
able.
That sounds amazing. I think now everybody is a little bit curious how the app actually is working, and I think that's just what we're gonna do now.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you very much, Marco, for being
Thank
part
you
of
to
the
you, Ralf.
webinar this time. And we all around the world keep our fingers crossed for Italy to
Sure.
to rise back from from the ashes of the whole situation. So all the best for you and the team. And looking forward to seeing you in live again when we are allowed to travel again.
Thank you, Ralf, to invite me for this webinar.
Okay. Ciao, Marco. Take care.
Ciao. Ciao. Take care.
Ciao. Bye. All right. So now you have met Marco, and we are back here live. This is the xMure and the J7 connected to each others. And the xMure, as I told you, has several modes. This is what we call the yellow mode. And the yellow mode works with any kind of MIDI instrument that is able to transmit MIDI on the on the USB cable, or even MIDI on Bluetooth when you connect the regular output to a mixing board or to an instrument. Okay, so the red mode is for DEXIBELL users, and it comes with it comes for free. It comes with several patterns already pre-installed. So I'm gonna go back to the red mode, and I'm gonna use a bossa nova pattern now, and I want to go really like probably late 50s, no, probably early 60s, that typical Walter Wanderley sound, having a, and I give you the fancy 4 camera angles again. Okay, so you see when I change the chord? Always push the fade out button, and then the pattern is slowly fading away. So that was really like, let's call it old school, but very beautiful, very vintage organ sound, and just a bossa nova pattern here. One more to go with the xMure. Let me see, this is the teen rock pattern where we have a nice guitar. And let me say, I want to play something like Autumn Leaves. And I created a patch with 3 layered sounds: the German Platinum, the Fantabell synth sound, and the bass. And with this patch, I would like to have sound-wise a guitar. And here we go. And this guitar is following me wherever I'm going. And before I start playing, I just see another question popping in. Jay, yes, you can actually change the tempo. Here is the tempo button. You cannot change it dramatically all the way to some crazy area with this, because it's audio, but let me do that. I can go up a little. I can go down a little. And back to 76 where it was. And now let me play that song. All right, so this was really live played. Chords on the keyboard and the backing in live, reacting to everything I played on the iPad and on the xMure. Actually, quite unbelievable, I think. So one more thing I'd like to show you on the xMure is how I can import chords into the xMure if I don't want to play the chords live. And I just opened an app here. It's called iReal Pro. iReal Pro is practically a real book without melodies. Melody couldn't be done because of copyright. So you have all the chords. Then you can go here, select the song you want to play. That's on the sunny side of the street. And then you can go, sorry, it's in German language, share chord progression. You go music, XLM, etc., etc. And then you kind of share it automatically with your xMure, which I prepared. So there should be some on the sunny side of the street here. And here you can see the chords of on the sunny side of the street. Let's select a swing rhythm here. That's the moon swing. And I have a piano here. And now the chord triggering on the xMure is driven by not what I'm playing, but it's driven by the chord progression that I just imported into the xMure. So let's do that. One measure pickup. And you saw it just stopped in the end because I didn't switch on the loop function. If you're switching on the loop function, then it's gonna rerun and rerun and rerun. You can also actually create your own chord pattern here. So if you are in the composing process and you write a song, you can insert your own chord patterns. Then you can, after doing that, you can say, okay, let me try to play the same song, same chord progression, but with a different feel, with a different taste. So I just loaded kind of a tango here. And now I'm having the chord progression of Sunny Side of the Street, but with a very different flair. Okay, I'm getting carried away here. So I think you get the idea of what this is actually doing. Now, in the end, you can actually export this backing track. You can export it as a 2-track stereo mixdown, or you can extract it as a multi-track rendering. And then you can actually import these audio tracks into your DAW, into your digital audio workstation, and use it as a pre-production sketch. And how we do that, I will show you in 2 weeks from now. In the next webinar, we will import these audio tracks into our DAW. We'll learn how to connect our DAW to our DEXIBELL instrument and everything that needs to be done for making this run. Okay, let me just go back on my script. That all works. Let me see if I have... exactly. If I have one more question to come in. No, everything is taken care of. This is also very, very cool. And I have one more app that I'd like to share with you, because some of our instruments, they don't have pitch bend, mod wheel on the surface of the instrument. So I researched and I found an app for you in case you're playing an H model or an S1 or a J7 and you would like to use these synth style pitch wheels, modulation wheels. And there's an app, it's called Mod Wheels, and let me just briefly run this video for you. The application I'm using now is called Mod Wheel, and this application can be used in case your instrument doesn't have a physical mod wheel and pitch bender, such as the J7 or the S1 or the H series in DEXIBELL. So here, there's the modulation. And the pitch bender. And I set it to MIDI channel 1, apparently, because MIDI channel 1 is the solo lead sound that you're hearing at this moment. All right, so you see, this is basically how the Mod Wheel app is working. It's very, 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 very nice, very sexy. It takes a little bit of a learning curve, but once this is done, it's at least a workaround on the fact that your instrument might not have the actual physical mod wheel available. So there is another question popping in from Alfonso. And Alfonso asks if this is only Apple. And unfortunately, we have to answer this question with a yes. It's at this moment only Apple. And the reason for this is that in the Android operating system, there is no MIDI protocol available. If you need to have more tech specs about that, please send us an email and the DEXIBELL team will answer to you in a more detailed way than I can do here right now. Okay, so I want to follow our tradition as always, and of course also this time we have a fantastic special guest here, and as usual, this is in a pre-recorded interview, which I did a couple of days ago. He is from United States, so jet lag, etc., didn't allow me to do that, to run the interview live. So I'm just gonna play this video for you. And of course, also today we're having our special guest. He is trained in classical music and has a Bachelor of Music degree in Theory Composition from the University of the Pacific in California. He has been the headline artist in several jazz festivals, such as the Napa Valley Jazz Gateway, the Blue Note Napa, the Catalina Island Jazz Trucks Festival, and many more. Also, he has been a musical director, and he has worked with smooth jazz artists Brian Culbertson, Nelson Rangel, Tom Braxton, just to name a few of them. He is running his own Facebook live broadcast, and he has a high expertise and a lot of experience in the field of acoustic pianos. So please welcome from Sacramento, California, Mr. Cecil Ramirez. Hello, Cecil. How are you doing? It's so great having you here today. Hi.
Great seeing you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being with us today. I think last time we saw each other was in a real different world, right? It was in January at the NAMM show in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, yes.
And it feels like ever since then we have been locked down in some in some
And
crazy
so
way.
this is kind of natural, you and me being on camera here.
It's really, we really got used to that, right? Kind of
We
that,
did.
yeah. But at least we have this opportunity and these technical possibilities to do that.
It's
So,
amazing.
yeah. So we make the best out of the situation, right?
Absolutely.
So how is it? How is everything on your side in Sacramento?
You know, we're doing okay. You know, California is one of those places where you know, we went on lockdown early, and
Yes.
so we've been on lockdown since like middle of March.
Okay.
And so, you know, I think people get a little bit antsy. You know, they want to be able to get out and they want to be able to get back to doing the things they want to do. But
Of
in the
course.
meantime, doing these kinds of online things, I've been doing Facebook Live every
Right.
Sunday
Right.
since we went on lockdown, which is fun. And a lot of my musician buddies have been doing the same thing because their tours got canceled.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, and so they don't get a chance to go out and play shows like they used to, and so they're at home just trying to get through and, you know, keep everything going, you know,
Yeah.
as far as what they have to do on a daily basis.
Yeah. I think probably our audience today in the Academia DEXIBELL webinar have a very similar strange experience. How to say it like that, right? So yeah, well, that's how it is. So last time we saw in January at the NAMM show at the DEXIBELL booth, where you actually performed for DEXIBELL. That was fantastic. We're always so happy to have you there. And can I ask you, how did you get in touch? How did you get in contact? How did you hear from DEXIBELL?
Oh, what a great story! So I was out with a friend of mine, Brian Culbertson. And I told him, I said, you know, because we bounce ideas off of each other, you know, and I told him, I said, I really need to switch my keyboard. The keyboard I was using back then was didn't have the capabilities I needed for my live shows. So, you know, he actually turned me on to DEXIBELL. You know, he introduced me to Antonio.
Brian Culbertson did that? Wow.
Yeah, he did.
Well, that's an honor for us. Come on.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can blame him.
I'm happy to do that.
Yeah. You know, and Brian, I mean, it's, you know, I trust him with a lot of great stuff, you know. So if he says you should check this out, then of course I did. And Antonio was just a sweetheart. I went over to the DEXIBELL booth that year. And, you know, I'm already at the NAMM show because I work for a piano manufacturer. So we were already exhibiting at the show.
Okay.
And so, yeah, it was just a matter of going down to the booth where Antonio was and just introducing myself, and then we got connected. And next thing you know, I bought this baby, my Vivo S3. And,
thank you for doing that.
Oh yeah, it's a great keyboard. Love it.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. Our R&D team who is listening right now, they will be very pleased and very happy for this comment. No, that's amazing. So you were just mentioning you're working for a piano manufacturer. Do you want to share a little bit of that information with us?
Absolutely. You know, so I've been working for Mason and Hamlin Piano Company since 1996. So I've been with them for a while. And, you know, it's one of the two remaining American piano manufacturers.
Right.
And our factory is up in New England, north of Boston.
Yes.
And so, you know, we make our pianos by hand in our factory in a blue-collar town called Haverhill, Massachusetts.
Okay.
And, you know, and so it's a small, because we're making them by hand, we don't crank out a lot of these pianos.
Yes.
But they're real works of art, you know, and I've got one in the living room. I have a 7-foot model BB grand piano, and that's the one I record when I do my acoustic piano for my albums. That's what I record on. And so I'm real sensitive to what a piano sounds like. I'm around them all the time.
I can imagine. And that this makes us even more happy that you chose a DEXIBELL instrument for your gigs where you go on stage and you don't have the opportunity of having probably it's not in all the venues that there is a decent grand piano, right?
Yeah, or a piano at all. You know, a lot of times it's just easier to travel with your own piano and then get it in the sound system. And the thing I love so much about this little guy is that the hardest thing to get or to emulate on a digital, when you're trying to do an acoustic piano is that long decay,
Yes.
So when you play a note, on a DEXIBELL, it goes as long as a real piano does. And there's, plenty of memory in the keyboard for that. Because a lot of times what happens is when you don't have that delay, this, Ralph, when you play, then you get all this dead air because the note dies away sooner. So now you got to keep
Exactly. I feel the same way. I call this for myself like overcompensating. So I figure I'm playing too many notes to fill the gaps. That's a very unpleasant thing because at a certain point I have to listen to this recording and then I go, oh my goodness, what did I do? Right. So that's what happens to me usually when
I'm sorry. when you play a real piano or one of these guys, you can play less and you can let the sound kind of flow and you can let it develop, and that has its own emotion to it. Which is
thank you so much. And this coming from a great pianist and a person who works with acoustic pianos. That's a big honor, a big compliment for us. Thank you very much, Cecil.
My pleasure.
So for your performance that we are going to enjoy pretty soon, which song did you choose to play?
I chose a song called Talk to the Hand, and it's from the last album I released, which is called Party in the Back.
Okay.
And so the nice thing about this album was I was able to get some of my really good musician buddies playing on it.
Right.
So the saxophone on this is my friend Phil Denny out of Detroit.
Yes.
And the drummer is Walter Williams from Sacramento. And guitar player is Adam Hawley from Los Angeles.
Yes.
And then I think I did everything else because I ran out of money or something. I don't know. So,
okay.
But,
all right. Yeah. No, I'm sure it's a beautiful album. So the song you play is that who did you compose that, or was that a you did? Fantastic.
That's one.
That is beautiful. And you will play this with the S3. Which piano sound did you choose?
Well, when I first got the keyboard, I was like a Vivo piano guy all the way.
Okay.
But then you guys released the Platinum series.
Right.
So now my new favorite is the USA Platinum piano.
All right. Okay. That's for sure a real beauty. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So I think Cecil, we are looking forward. We can't wait anymore. We are looking forward now to listening to your performance. And I once again would like to thank you for being with us today at the Academia DEXIBELL. And guys, check also Cecil Ramirez on Facebook, because he's also doing live broadcast once a week. And it's going to be so worth it joining there and dialing in there. But without any further ado, let's have a listen to Cecil Ramirez, Talk to the Hand. Cecil Ramirez, ladies and gentlemen. What a player, what a musician. Fantastic. And thanks, Cecil, for being with us today in the Academia DEXIBELL. By the way, Cecil has used his iPad and made a Bluetooth stream to his S3. So that's how he actually run the backing tracks. Okay, I would like to refer to 2 questions that arrived during those last 2 weeks. And one of these questions arrived on the Facebook group Ralf Plays DEXIBELL. And on that moment, please have a look to Facebook. The Facebook group is called Ralf Plays DEXIBELL. Just send me a invitation or connection request, and I'm going to add you there. So the question that popped in was, there are 2-level controls on the J7. I will show you on the screen. Let me see if I can do that here. Yes. So this is what is here. And how does the instrument determine what is the function of these knobs? So let me briefly answer this. You can see that white line under the name of the sound, and this is actually determining to which of the real-time parts those knobs refer to begin with. So of course the upper one at this moment is the German Platinum Grand, is always referring here to upper level and also the upper effect settings. So there's effect slot A and B, and I'm swapping those here, and then you can use those knobs. Then, for the other 3 parts, because in the J7, the S3, S7, we have only 2 sets of knobs. You see the line is now at the C, at the coupled part, or at the lower part, and wherever this line is, this is referring to what the knobs are doing. So I hope I could help answering this question. Next question that came in is from Lee, and he was actually asking if I can play something with theater organ sounds or spinet organ sounds. These are actually vintage organs, spinet organs, probably from the 40s to 50s. And thank you, Lee, for this question, because it made me do my research. And I would like to give you one example of each very briefly, because that's also part of the recapping of the organ sounds. Speaking about theater organ, a theater organ is basically, this is really a shortcut explanation, so please understand. They have a pipe organ, sound engine, if you want to say that, and one of the main specs is a tremulant. So basically, to simulate the theater organ, I'm using the pipe organ sound, but with a tremulant. So this is the pipe organ. But the real theater organ feeling goes in when I have a tremulant. Is probably the tremulant algorithm is more suitable for the pipe organ rather than a theater organ. But maybe, and again, there goes that idea, having a beer with the DEXIBELL engineers to convince them to make maybe a theater organ tremulant. However, I try to play a small song or a part from a song using the tremulant and the pipe organ sound, emulating a theater organ feeling. Etc., etc., etc. I think you get the idea. The other part of the question was spinet organ sounds. So again, this is very vintage. There was a lady around, she's called Ethel Smith. I think she was the master of this kind of organ sound. If you Google her, you'll find a lot of very, very nice vintage style tunes. So That's a drawbar sound, and at that time, this was probably before the Leslie got popular, and maybe even before the Leslie was around. There was just the vibrato switch on these spin-it organs, so you could have the drawbars and that nice, sweet vibrato. Very particular sound, very particular playing style. And at that time, there were no clarinet or trumpet sounds installed in instruments. But they had those tilt tabs where it said clarinet and trumpet. And basically, the drawbar setting was emulating the overtone structure of these sounds. So let's add a little vibrato. And with the percussion, etc., etc. Speaking about all the vintage sounds, just a short recap of organs before going back next webinar to piano. And in the next webinar, I'm actually playing the Vivo S9, and I'm connecting the Vivo S9 to my MacBook, and then we'll have a look into DAW settings, MIDI learning, etc., etc. But first things first, short recap of organ sounds. There's the 64, what I call the 1964 sound. Let me see if I can give you the other display here. So exactly. Then the 64 Vox sound. Then the 65, where it started being fashionable to have a huge reverb. And in some bands, they had even two Hammond organs, one with a Leslie, one without, so you could do that stuff like that. Then there was a wonderful player, Walter Wanderley, with his percussive Latin style, the typical style. Then there was the Italian transistor sound. Then in the 90s, the organ sound was used for dance floor music. I'm sure you remember this one or this one. And of course, then all-time favorite, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So before going into the closing tune, where I'm going to play a medley using all these vintage organ sounds, starting from 64, going all the way back to the 90s and then back to the 70s, I would like to say thank you very much to everybody around the globe for staying with us today. And next week, in 2 weeks from now, that's going to be June 7th, if I'm not mistaken. We will cover MIDI Master Keyboard Zones Part 2, where we also look into MIDI learning and into MIDI learning in different DAWs. I'm planning to do something with Ableton Live. I'm planning to do something with Main Stage, for that matter. And the S9 is also featuring motorized draw faders. You can see them here. And this is a big help when you do all these MIDI learn things. All right, so here we go. We will see us again in 2 weeks from now. Please stay healthy and stay safe. Once again, thanks for joining, and please come over to the Facebook group Ralf Plays Dexibel, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks. And now please enjoy the history of the vintage organ sound from 64 to today. And yes, Antonio is gonna be your favorite organ medley. Thanks a lot for joining. Please stay healthy, stay safe. I'll see you again in 2 weeks.
it out.